And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentleman of Crypto, episode 1275. Today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. ish. And today's top story is U.S. crypto excitement akin to space race under Trump, says TRM Labs exec. Polymarket users bet on Canadian Prime Minister resigning before official announcement. Bitcoin ETFs roar back with second day of $900+ million inflows. Canadian man says kidnappers wanted to torture him for his Bitcoins being reported and more. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at these prices. And ooh. The last 24 hours has been amazing for Bitcoin. They say, hey, let's go ahead and get right back over that 100K hump. And we are there and beyond already. Let me go ahead and blow up this for everyone to see. Bitcoin, I said it and it went right back down. Come on, Bitcoin. Earlier this morning, it was at 101,000, but right now it just dipped back to 99,000. Oh, 99,141. It's going back up, down 1.8% on the day. Ethereum took a little haircut as well, down 4.07% at $3,542. Number three, Ripple, $2.38, down 2.3%. Number 9, Cardano at $1.10, up 0.6%. Number 10, Tron TRX at 26 cents, still down 0.44%. And I just want to announce this one because it's creeping. Sui at number 12 at $4.94, down 6.66%. Some people saying you are already getting a discount because that's the next Solana to some folks. And if it's so, you can write that up right now from $5 to a couple hundred. Some folks have already wrote it from $2 to $5 here this past couple months. So it's pretty interesting. Fear and Greed Index 66, Bitcoin dominance 56.12, Ethereum dominance at a 12.31. And those are your prices on the day. All right, really quick before we get this show on a roll, let me go ahead and give some quick shout outs to the chat. What's going on? What up, though? Everybody in the chat. I see you. What's going on? What's going on? What's up, everybody? Let me bring this up. Here we go. Why didn't the title come? That's kind of weird. Wisdom Bar, what's going on? Patrick Walter, Got a lot of Zyro, San Morgan, Jasmine B, Only Bitcoin, Nerd Up, L. Debnam L, Allison Thompson. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Not a lot of news today. I think everybody's trying to figure out what direction is the market going to go, how it's going to kind of sort itself out. And that direction won't really be seen until president-elect comes into office, right? And he starts making demands on what's going to happen in the first 48 hours and, of course, the first 90 days as well. So without further ado, top story of the day. I want to share this because it's an ongoing thing. We've been talking about how these ETFs have been kind of manipulating the system. But here you see Bitcoin ETFs roar back with second day of $900+ million inflows. So to me, when you they're going to keep running these stories for forever. They're doing this with future stories as well, with the futures headlines. I just want to key in for an analytical point of view. I did not cover it, but I think it was just there a few days ago. There was a story that essentially said the biggest ETFs losses since they started. It was like $400 million in outflows. And I didn't cover it because it's like those are the attention grabbing headlines that's trying to keep people confused. Like, oh, what does this mean? We had $400 million outflows, is the biggest ever. Like, and now they're saying we're roaring back with the second day of $900+ million inflows. Like, again, this is not the retail market waking up saying, I'm going to pull out all my money here today out the ETFs, or I'm going to put it in for one. For two, I don't even think on the traditional side is even possible to do that in a quick and easy way, as in like, I've dealt with traditional portfolios. You can't just wake up one morning, call them, be like, all right, cash me out. Like, send me all my portfolio. I want everything in my bank account today. It doesn't work like that. It usually takes at least 3 to 5 days on the minimum, if not like 2 weeks to process your account and to close you out and give you all your capital. So my thing is when they say this for ETFs, we're like, well, we got $400 million outflows, or this is the second day, back-to-back $900 million plus inflows. It's like you can't even transact that from a retail point of view in this quick. So again, this to me is considered market manipulation, not only from these wealth management companies and banks, but now from the actual journalists as well. When you start seeing stuff like this pop up on Cointelegraph 3 or 4 times a week, like that's market manipulation. This is FUD coming from Cointelegraph, which is crazy enough because they're supposed to be here for the community. But this is like FUD. This is in both ways. It's FUD even saying that, hey, we got 900 million because you're making people think that this is going to make the price skyrocket and go bonkers. Realistically, it could pump at 8 to 12%. Of course, we talk about it, but this isn't the retail market. This is 3 to 5 people at wealth management firms and banks making that decision to say, hey, we're going to turn on the faucet and allow, again, the firefighters department's portfolio to go over to Bitcoin. And then the next day they're saying, hey, we're going to take that portfolio and we're going to put it towards the environment or greenhouse gases or whatever else, whatever other things you can invest in, right? So I think it's kind of lazy to continuously see this. I understand why they're headlines, they grab your attention, but realistically, like the market isn't shifting to the point where you have retail investors either selling and or buying this many inflows on the daily basis. That's incredible. That's crazy, people. That's not going down like that. It's not happening. They got portfolios. But again, this is those things where if you're not really watching it or paying attention, depending on what that story says, you see this story today, that's enough to make people buy some Bitcoin. On the flip side, you see the story from yesterday or a few days ago, that's enough for people to sell Bitcoin. And like, what do you mean $400 million just outflow and that's the biggest ever? I don't want my money left in this magic internet money when all goes to hell. Like, you know what I mean? That is the point of some of these little basic articles, to sway those emotions and to get people to do different things in the market. Like, it's a part of the market. So it's cool to see that they're keeping up with it. But I would rather see a little bit more honest reporting on it, where it's like, come on now, like the retail market isn't responsible for all of this. Polymarket is actually back in the news. Very interesting. Here I'll stay right here in the United States first. Actually, I'll stay here in the U.S. since we were talking ETFs before I go to Polymarket, because I didn't want to forget this one. U.S. crypto excitement akin to space race under Trump. You all let me know in the comments what your thoughts about it. I would say, again, as of now, I'm not going to go into this whole story. I mean, the headline, I'm assuming, will explain it. But to me, it isn't. You can't really judge yet. Like I said, he's not here. But I will say the energy right now, while I wasn't alive at the beginning of the space race, for those who are too young to understand what I'm talking about, World War II ended. Russia and the United States entered our Cold War. Weapons proliferation started to increase, where everyone wanted weapons of mass destruction, missiles, A-bombs, so on and so forth. And everyone was starting to house them. So was, again, the Russian side and every other country out there. And then we were like, hey, the best way to get these weapons or to stop these weapons is to create lasers and satellites and everything else to shoot weapons down before they can even enter our atmosphere or our region. And then at the same time, we're trying to go to the moon. We're trying to go out of space, y'all, Mars. There's a lot of stuff happening throughout the 70s and 80s. And what I remember, the reason I say that is what I remember about the programs is that in the 90s, growing up in Detroit, I was like, I'm a kid of the city. So for those who don't know, like, I know everybody in Detroit. I got a big family, but I literally grew up in like inner city programs, right? Like single mother, going through it and all that stuff. Like, you get put in all these city programs. So I have been like almost in every city program in Detroit in the 90s that would like let a kid come into it. And some of the bigger programs that were being funded were programs from the United States government that were still pumping the space race. They were still pumping STEM. I think it was called DECA or DEPA or something. Somebody remind me in the comments for one of those programs, one of those science programs. But I remember my brother used to win some of those competitions. But I was also in those programs, so that I remember that energy. My point was, I wasn't there as an adult when World War II, of course, ended, but also as the Cold War started and all these things. Like, I wasn't alive when this started, but I was alive when the capital was pushed into American cities for these programs. I was a product of a lot of these programs of building robots or doing science fairs here or doing technology. Like, this is how I know how to use crypto and the internet. People had a computer when in like the year 97 or whatever, right? I had a computer for my own parents had a computer. So my thing is, I remember that energy in the 90s. I do remember that energy, and it was a real energy as far as pushing STEM and it being capital involved in it too, even for adolescents, right? So yes, I do actually believe this is that same type of energy, because right now, not only adults, teenagers are involved in this, right? There's teenagers involved in crypto programs. Our own company, before some of the people in our company went crazy for whatever reason, we're working with kids, right? We're pushing things to kids. We're pushing crypto programs to kids and education to kids. It's like, so yes, this energy is the same to me as the space race. And what I remember, the capital is definitely here. The interest is here. Even the FUD is here. If you remember the space race, like, oh my God, Russia's going to get there first, or another country is going to get out of space first, or be able to shoot down our missiles or shoot us with missiles. Cuban Missile Crisis, all this other stuff. So like, I do think we have that same energy here now. People are saying, what's going to happen if Binance has all the crypto, right? What's going to happen if Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto? What's going to happen if Russia does have the most Bitcoin reserves? Like, we're going through this same thing right now. I think this is great. Not only for the market, but it's great for humanity, because just like the space race, while whether we landed on the moon or not, I know some of you flat earthers or whatever want to argue and debate it, who cares? The technology increased across all markets for the most part, especially STEM markets. We saw technology, medical practices, engineering. We saw everything increase. So I think we're going to see the same thing here with as many children, adults, adolescents, teenagers, everyone, with as many people that's involved in the financial system now, that's involved and interested in crypto, that has trading apps. Like, this is the energy, and I do think we'll see a positive change for humanity as far as inventions and intelligence here in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, as more people continue to learn about and use crypto and stuff. So this is the cool thing, the tech thing about the space. And I can't wait to see. Like I said, so far so good. All Trump has to do is come in and not even speak about this, and this would be a dub. But we'll actually see if he comes in and starts to increase these programs. So we'll see. Because here's the thing, people. If we start doing Bitcoin as a reserve currency for states and countries, you have to have you have to have citizens who are educated on this, right? So this whole thing of keeping Bitcoin and crypto in the dark and pushing FUD, it's about to end soon if we start to have Bitcoin as a reserve currency, because you'll have to have educated people to run those reserves, to make sure everything's good, to have cybersecurity, so on and so forth. So I think we are ushering in a new era, and hopefully it happens. We'll see. Let's see. Morpheus Mind said, did we already talk about Eric Trump is talking about making a crypto tax-free or no capital gains tax, and mentioned 4 in particular cryptos? I might have missed it. No, I haven't talked about that, nor am I going to, only because it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not, no. I'm not going off the hype on that one. That's not a big enough headline for hype. But hopefully he actually does, and it's a real story here soon. But right now, no, only because politicians promise. That's one of those things. No, we're not going to tax it. It sounds good, but listen, here's the deal. Whenever you start messing with people money, even taxes, there's groups and people on the other end who are not going to just let it ride. So do I think a 30% tax is going to disappear overnight? I hope so. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. So until that actually does happen, to me, it's like, non-starter. All right, a couple of last stories. Like I said, kind of slow news stories as everyone waits for the new president to come in and the new administration do their thing. But some more interesting ones. This was a good story to actually cover. I saw the headline on this one. I was like, ooh, this should shake them up a little bit more. Polymarket users bet on Canadian PM resigning before official announcement. That's right. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced his resignation at a January 6th press conference. Now, I haven't read this article, only saw the headline, but I can probably assume, I can pretty much assume what's going to be in it. They're going to be talking about the whole trucker thing he did. If you remember, Justin Trudeau was behind the Canadian truckers during COVID. They were like, hey, you're going to make us wear masks and have all these weird rules and regulations. We ain't going to be doing the same routes. And then the government, I take it back. The government said, if you're not going to wear the mask or whatever, then you can't do your truck. And the trucker said, well, we're going to protest. The government said, well, we'll cut your bank account so you can't protest. People say, well, donate Bitcoin and crypto. And then the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, basically was like, well, crypto's illegal and you can't do this and this. You can't donate Bitcoin to these people. Again, showing the ludicrousy and the insanity and the psychotic nature of humans to other humans, thinking they can run and be in charge of other adults' life. It's absolutely insane, but they try to do it in every country. Canadians know better. So again, this is just me guessing. I'm assuming that's going to be in it. I'm assuming the whole debacle about countries coming after Polymarket because of them betting on elections, I'm assuming that's going to be in it, because I can see the next prime minister, if they aren't crypto friendly, and reports have already come out that the possible next prime minister is super crypto friendly, or some of the candidates are crypto friendly. But I can see one that's not being crypto friendly come in and say, hey, we need to shut down this Polymarket thing. They're the ones who got rid of the last prime minister, right? Blaming on technology like they always do. So these are some of the things, if I had to guess, have some fun, or what I think will be covered in the article. But let's go ahead and see. Again, we're going to Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced he will step back as his political party's leader and resign as prime minister once officials choose a successor. There you go. Way to step back. In the January 6th press conference, Trudeau said Canada's Liberal Party was selected next leader through a robust nationwide competitive process. Reports have suggested that the Prime Minister intended to announce his resignation amid calls from many members of Parliament to step down. Good for you. Good. Just go ahead and get out of there. We need more resignations in the American government as well. The resignation announcement came less than a month after Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland said she would step down, citing differences of opinion with Trudeau over how to handle potential tariffs that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has threatened to impose on Canada. Hell yeah, impose some tariffs on them. Listen, I'm tired. Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here we go. Here he goes. Here's the deal. Yes, we all are Americans. We all are North Americans. That is correct. We are all North Americans for sure. But we all are not United States Americans, okay? I want to be clear about that because Canada gets so many passes like they the US of A. They are not the US of A. They are Canada and halfway French, if I remember correctly as well. They're not the US. Yeah, raise them taxes on that ass too, the same way we would do China, Mexico, and everybody else. All right. Hell yeah, we raising them taxes. And hell yeah, y'all need to go ahead and get the debating back and forth and resigning. Yeah, all that. Stay about our business and worry about your business. I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see it. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election, says Trudeau. I will say this. Politicians, regulators, anybody with these political positions of power, I give them this is serious. I give them a real hand clap when they resign. Now, granted, he probably didn't want to. It probably was his party like, yo, either you're gonna get out, we're gonna get you out. It's up to you, buddy. You can get out, we give you another job somewhere else. You know how to go, show goes. You'll be back here in the White House or their version of it in the cabinet. As soon as we get some things in order the next 6 to 8, 10 years. You'll be right back. If you go quietly. If you fight this thing, we'll make sure you don't work in Canada again, type of deal, right? So I seriously applaud regulators, politicians, and those who resign because they're saying, all right, you know what? I'm not the best person to lead everyone anymore. It's that simple. This is why this stuff pisses me off when we really do need to either molasses and feather or coat, tar, and feather some of these regulators and politicians because, again, things as simple as this guy saying, hey, you all can't use Bitcoin and crypto to protest because it doesn't help the establishment. Like, to me, that's enough for all the people to say, well, you no longer represent us. Let's go ahead and yank you up out of here if you're not going to walk away. So for a person like Justin Trudeau to say, all right, I'm going to walk away from this thing, bravo, hand clap. There you go. Shout out to Assad, too. It took him some years and a ton of bodies, but even he finally said, all right, it's time to walk away from this thing. Yes, sometime it's time to walk away. Saber says like Canadians are honorary Americans. Man, look, no. Because here's the deal. This is I know what America tries to do too. I know what different countries try to do. Let's put it like this then. Hey, we could do it like this. Like I said, we could be a North America. If Canadians are honorary Americans, then so are Mexicans. And I'm in Los Angeles, California. I feel like I'm in Northern TJ, which is actually crazy because you get that feeling in San Diego a little bit, but then you don't get it at all going up the coast. You go through Oceanside, Encinitas, Del Mar, who else is up to Orange County? It's like no Mexico. And then you get to LA, it's like, bam, we back in Tijuana, baby. So if we're going to do that, if Canadians are honorary Americans, I want to make sure Mexicans are honorary Americans as well. Either all or nothing. All right, all or nothing, folks. Can't pick and choose. Debate, however you pick and choose. I don't even know how you do, but we're not going to pick and choose. And since I'm not, I'm saying no to both of them. All right. Many in the crypto industry, of course, criticized Trudeau's handling of a 2022 strike led by Canadian truckers, called it blocking the streets of Ottawa in apparent protest of the nation's COVID-19 restrictions. So again, I already talked about that. Won't get back into it. Political bets on Polymarket surge. It looks like kind of what I mentioned as well. They're going to be talking about this as also. Prior to the January 6th press conference, the odds of Trudeau resigning on crypto betting platform Polymarket steadily increased, with users betting he intended to step down by the end of the day. The website also gave users the choice to bet on who could become Canada's next prime minister after the next election, with 91% odds on Conservative Party leader Pierre Polymarket at the time of publication. And I believe Pierre is the person who is crypto friendly as well. Don't quote me, but I think that's the person who's crypto friendly. Again, folks, new ways to bet, baby. Polymarket. Go ahead and place your DeFi crypto bet on the election. I love to see it. So again, they're talking about this Polymarket in the U.S. election. Again, I've already mentioned that. But yes, Polymarket, great news story for the. I mean, this is great marketing for a platform. Like you talk about great marketing. This is great marketing for a platform. That's twice they've essentially publicly gotten a presidential or prime minister's choosing or unchoosing for that matter correct. So again, shout out to prime minister. That's crazy work. Or I said shout out to prime minister. Did I say that? Shout out to Polymarket for the work they're doing. And Canada for getting that prime minister up out of there. I can't wait. Listen, if you all can get a Bitcoin for it, prime minister in there, then everything I said doesn't matter anymore. You all are good old Americans to me. No, but on a serious note, real quick, that's what's so funny. Everyone swears they love their country, but then just always want to talk American business. They always want to be in America. America, 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 but we love our country. Listen, I always tell people, like, here's the thing about America is you could bet that's true. But one thing we really don't do is talk about we're talking about other people's countries. We're either talking about how great the vacation was or how shit the country is in general. It's like we're not talking about the country's politics or what voted on this or the sports star, the entertainment star. Like, what? Every 5 to 10 years, we will talk about a different country's entertainer. All right, Gangnam Style. You get 3 months in the light, and then we back to America. All right, this is what it is, people. It is what it is. All right, last but not least, as I said all that, let's go ahead and talk about a different country. Canadian man says kidnappers wanted to torture him for his Bitcoin. Serious story. This is why I always say, people, look, don't go. You can't go. I know it's scary and we might lose a few, but this is the strength and the power of, let's say, special forces units, right? You talk about Navy SEALs, Delta, some of these folks, is like they're not going. You won't see or hear too many stories of them being captured alive for a reason. We're like told that in training, all right? That you're told in training, the last thing you want is for them to catch you alive. You're told that. And then the other thing you're kind of, I won't necessarily say told, but the rhetoric is, at least for Navy SEAL training, the rhetoric is definitely like, hey, we want to go down in history, or they want to go down in history. I was saying we when I was in training at the time. They want to go down in history as like the greatest warriors, even beyond Spartans. And they know the only way to achieve that is through battle, and whatever comes with it, come with it. All right. I'm saying all that to say this. When it comes to your safety, especially if you're in Bitcoin and crypto and people are trying to kidnap you or whatever, I said it once, I say it twice. You better handle that outside in public. Don't let them take you back somewhere. Don't let them take you. If they take you, the story can get super dark, super dark, super dark versus what can happen in public. What they pull off a couple of shots and run is like, all right, you got a 50-50 chance to make it to the hospital right now and figure this out. But if they take you, woo, those chances of ever figuring anything out dramatically decrease. So again, it's a tough situation to be in regardless. But I think this Canadian man did well. This story actually did skim through beforehand to make sure it wasn't like some BS story or whatever. But it looks like an unidentified Canadian man said he has been forced to move from one Airbnb to another to evade his suspected kidnappers. When I read that part, to me, that says he probably knows who the people are. They know who he is. A Canadian volunteer moderator of a crypto forum. Damn, he's a volunteer moderator of a crypto forum, has reportedly gone into hiding with his family after kidnappers allegedly attempted to abduct him and force him to give up his Bitcoin. The victim, who wasn't identified in Canadian French language, Canada French. All right, I wasn't tripping. And the Canadian French language news outlet La Presse on January 6th report claimed that the would-be abductors were prepared for horrific violence before he and his children managed to escape. Quote, the guys had equipment to torture me. They had a 2-foot by 2-foot tarpaulin with a hole in the middle and green hoses around it to cut a limb and stop the bleeding. That is super scary, honestly. It's incredible violence, the man told the press. The latest incident comes amid a rising number of robberies, kidnappings, and muggings involving cryptocurrencies over the last year. The man said he and his children have moved from one Airbnb to the next to hide their whereabouts, and that police had concluded the offender's motive was to steal funds from his crypto wallet. The perpetrators would have seen posts on the Facebook page that I've been moderating for several years and thought I had 2.5 million Bitcoin, the man told the press. That's far from being the case. I'm a very ordinary guy. I may have $10,000. The man first contacted the police on November 4th after two men wearing surgical masks threatened him outside his home. The pair fled after he managed to close the door on them. Then on November 8th, while putting his daughter in the backseat of his car, he spotted a black vehicle with no license plates near his home. He was followed while driving and phoned the police. When he pulled over, a gun was pointing at him. 4 people were arrested and 2 of them were brought to court last November, accused of conspiring to kidnap and possession of prohibited firearms. The alleged assailants were released pending trial, which is scheduled for March, and remain under house arrest where they cannot leave for legitimate work, the press reported. That sounds like they might have called the homies. Wait, I'm over here. That's why I'm kind of reading slowly because I'm like, I know how this goes. Like, wait, they out free right now, and they didn't try it twice. Like, Canada, what? What is going on? Y'all got guns in Canada? I know the hunters do, but do the regular people got guns in Canada? The victim didn't appear to be happy with the court of Quebec. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm just I didn't read this far down earlier, folks. I just like skimmed the first paragraph to make sure it was a real story, but like, you are really catching my live reaction. I'm not happy about this either. The victim didn't appear to be happy with the court of Quebec's decision to release the suspects on bail, as he has been forced to burn the few savings he has left to continue evading the suspects. This is getting real. Bitcoin cyberpunk Jameson Lopp, if you don't remember, Jameson Lopp also had a swatting thing where people called a SWAT team on him before. And he was locked, stock, and ready. He was like, I heard somebody at my door. It was about to go down. But he has tracked at least 181 reports involving crypto robberies, kidnappings, murders, and related incidents since December 2014, including some incidents that occurred over this past holiday period, which includes a guy tied up in his car, a guy kidnapped in Pakistan, or a Pakistani-based trader kidnapped for $340,000. Another guy kidnapped Christmas Eve by 3 men in Belgium. So it's a ton of different ones he's actually covered, and it looks like this may be another one. So this is crazy. One thing I want to highlight, which I've highlighted recently again, because it's like, I swear is the most annoying thing, is this one. The guy said they thought I had 2.5 million Bitcoin. That's far from being the case. I'm a very ordinary guy. I may have $10,000. This is something I've talked about a lot recently, and I'll mention again, because right now everybody thinks I'm like stupid rich, right? Everybody thinks I'm stupid rich. Bitcoin's 100K. Can you start about? I'm like, yes. And I've been all in on Bitcoin since I started buying it. People I live with it, off it, use it, spend. All these people say, where are the money you spend on? I'm one of the people who can be like, yes, yeah, you see all this, I didn't spend it on. Like, so yeah, there isn't like a multi-millions laying around, because it's gone. Shit gone. I keep telling you, I don't even got no more Bitcoin. I don't even have it. No more Bitcoin or crypto for me. It's gone, right? So I understand where the guy's coming from, where he's like, yo, they think I got $2.5 million of Bitcoin or whatever. Like granted, he has more than 10,000. Let's be clear about that. He has more than 10,000, but I get what he's saying for sure. So it's tough to see people going through that. But again, I'm bringing up these stories because it is happening more, and you all better believe, especially some of the public ones out there, if you're going around telling the folks, even your own family, I mean, look, paid in full. Hey, money Mitch, money motherfucking Mitch. Look at you, all them watches and jewelry. I don't know what you're talking about, Uncle Ice. We broke over here. I don't know what you're talking about, Uncle Ice. You know what I mean? Kid get kidnapped by his own uncle, trying to get held up. It was a movie, but it was based off a true story, if you know what actually happened in real life, with those people, those characters where they're represented. So it could be your own family. We're talking about 100K Bitcoin. What's going to happen when it's $1 million of Bitcoin, $500,000 of Bitcoin? Even some of you who have these crypto families, what's going to happen when you pass away and leave your kids with the Bitcoin? Everybody knows about it, right? So these are things you have to at least role play in your head and be prepared for. Again, I hope this doesn't continue to happen. It slows down. But again, I just want to tell you all, for what I've been trained professionally from the military and what I know, you do not want to go back anywhere. People trying to get you, let it happen in public. It ain't no, I'm not going back. I'm not going, hey, kill me and my kids and my family, do everything right here in the middle of the daytime, and we're gonna die, we're gonna get caught. Don't let them take you back to some house or some basement somewhere, people. You don't want that to happen. All right, we're gonna end it on that. Other than that, that is the show for today. Let me go ahead and check out the comments. Make sure I've seen the comments is lighting up right now. Black Bitcoin Key said people have to stop talking about what they have. You know they can't do that. S1 Dove said no guns up here, hunters. Yeah. And S1 Dubs, of course, you know you're American. That's different. I think you actually are, aren't you though? For real, for real. Or are you officially Canadian now? I can't remember. Black Bitcoin Key said they didn't take his kidnapping serious. I agree as well. Uh, Jake said kidnapping is fake news. Anyone who wants to rob your Bitcoin know it can be traced. Dude had real beef and it was up. So yes and no. I do agree with you with that, but no, I'm still hearing a lot of people talk about Bitcoin, like people in the streets too. A lot of the community who talks about Bitcoin and crypto, they actually don't realize it can be traced. So they wouldn't be smart enough. Like, and that's the shame part. People are so stupid. It's like it's one of those things like they break your window and they take like a $50 stereo, but the window costs $300 to replace. It's like, dang man, I almost wish you just would have like caught me going into my car and asked me for $50, bro. Like, and told me you was gonna break the window instead, like something like it's just not worth it. So that's one of those things here where these criminals, they don't know any better. They will try to kidnap you and take it. And then even use, like, think about the teenager who just had like the $200 million in crypto and was spending it everywhere. He got caught spending it. They're like, buddy even tried to hide it. Like, he was smart enough to take it, but he wasn't smart enough to actually cover his footsteps. So I do think we got a lot of that happening here. They got a dude that Trudeau laughed at for telling Canadians to buy Bitcoin back in 2019 that will replace him. Okay, so that is the guy I think we're talking about. Oh, there we go, S1 Dubs. I'm with that. We should call it the North American Union. Oh, Mexico, Canadian, in the U.S., the NAU. I like that. I like that. All right, I'm with that. There we go. All right, I'm with that. The North American Union. We might need to vote on this one. I'm with that. Somebody said Michigan born and bred, for real, for real. Zyro knows up. Hey, we're not going to take it. What else do we have? All right, I think that is about it. Smash that like and share. America lost in Toronto for the time being. Yeah. I know Toronto don't mess with America right now. Smash that like and share. I'll be back tomorrow with some more news. Honestly, folks, for the next couple of weeks, and my game plan is to be here daily, but there are some projects I'm working on the back end for you all. But as far as the news goes, I think we'll be going like it'll be a slow cycle. There's nothing to really talk about until the president, not even until the president, the 19th. When CFTC chair resigns, when Gary Gensler resigns, you'll see the news cycle super like spike up, because as soon as they resign, you again, it's almost like it's a bank robbery. We're gonna wait till the guards change shifts. All right, like that's all that's about to happen. As soon as the SEC commissioner, CFTC, and all those folks resign, you better believe companies already know, hey, we got 24 to 48 hours to make a ton of plays in this like little weird window period. When the new administration comes, when the new people come, those plays, we got lawyers. We can argue everything we do in those 24 to 48 hours. We can argue it. We didn't know. There was no chairman. We sent the email. We made some phone calls. Wasn't nobody there. Y'all hadn't decided. I think January 19th to the 21st, and then after that week after, we're about to have a very heated news cycle. It's going to be excitement, news stories, a lot of stuff popping. But until then, the next week and a half, it's about to be sideways. You know how it works. Government doesn't open back up until Martin Luther King Day. And right now, everybody's just waiting to see what happens, unless there is a black swan event. Smash that like and share, and I'll see you all tomorrow.